It is time to move to the Mountain West for our NCAA football win total series. We just finished the MAC and we are on to the next conference. It is the Mountain West, and we're going to start with Air Force. Going alphabetical order in this conference, Air Force is the first one up. When we look back at Air Force, they started pretty dominant early on. They rolled off wins against Robert Morris, Sam Houston, and Utah State before winning five more. They were 8-0, ranked number 19 in the nation, and the games weren't that close. Only Wyoming was a 7-point game. They were on a dominating tear, and then November 4th they played Army, and that was a 23-3 loss, and things fell apart after that. They lost at Hawaii, they lost to UNLV by 4, and then they lost at Boise State by 8. They would go to a bowl game, though. They played in the Armed Forces Bowl where they beat James Madison. And we've got Troy Calhoun going into his 18th season at Air Force. And he's been a great coach there. Since 2019, he's only missed a bowl once, and that was the 2020 COVID year, so we really can't count that. He's won 4 bowls in a row: Cheese's Bowl, First Responders, and 2 Armed Forces Bowl. In full seasons, he's won 9 or more games in the last full 4 years. He was 3-3 in the COVID year. Calhoun's 130-82 as the Air Force coach. He has had one really bad year, 2-10 back in 2013. Other than that, it was 5-7 in 2017 and 2018. Since then, he's been a great, great coach. So Air Force is losing a lot. They lost a huge senior class. The senior class had had 40 wins in their 4 years, but they bring back a lot on the offense. We look at John Bush is going to take over the controls of the offense. This is a offense that's ranked in the top 2 nationally in each of the last 4 years. Busha got to play some last year. We saw at the end of last year a lot of the depth have to play, and it wasn't great, but there's some promise. John Busha is a good quarterback. He's especially in spring ball. He looked great. Thing is, John Bush is not a run-first quarterback like most of the Air Force quarterbacks have been. He might be the best passer they've had in about the last 10 years. At running back, this is where it's really important. Dylan Carson's back. He had 493 yards last year. Aiden Calvert's back. He scored 4 times last year. And they'll play the fullback and tailback spot. Calvert worked out the fullback a good amount in the spring. Pretty excited about that. At wide receiver, they bring back Jared Ronzos. He averaged 31.2 yards per catch. He only had 12 receptions, but I think he's going to get more this year. I think we could see some more passing from Air Force. Air Force average per pass was one of the top 5 in the nation. They don't pass a lot, but I think we could see them go a little bit more with that quarterback. On defense, they lost 8 starters, though, in a defense that was 6th in the nation. But this is the 4th straight year that Air Force is ranked in the top 10 in yards per game against. The secondary is going to be a huge strength. They bring back Jamari Bellamy and Jerome Gilliard Jr. They're both all Mountain West potential. They bring Camby Goff. He missed all of last year. He's back in the fold. They have some good inside linebackers. They have to have 2 new outside linebackers, though, and that's kind of concerning. They have a great nose tackle on the defensive line. They do have a pretty good experience on the interior defensive line, but the exterior is a worry. With 2 outside linebackers being a worry and the 2 defensive ends being a worry, I don't know how much pass rush this is going to generate. Matthew DePore is back at kicking field goals. He was an honorable mention in the Mountain West last year, going 15 for 19. Field goals are important in some tight games. We look at their schedule, though, and there's some favorable matchups early on. They start with Merrimack. They're going to win that. I think they beat San Jose State before September 14th at Baylor. Baylor might be the worst team in the Big 12. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a win. If they're clicking already on all cylinders by September 14th, a 3rd game of the year, they could pull it off before the bye. September 28th is at Wyoming. I have that in the loss category. So at this point, I have 2 wins, 1 loss, and 1 toss-up with Baylor. And then October 5th is their first game for the Commander-in-Chief Trophy against Navy. I think they get a win there. They go to New Mexico and then face Colorado State at home. That's probably 2 more wins before a bye. November 2nd is the second game of their Commander-in-Chief Trophy trio against Army. I think that's a loss. I don't see them winning both CIT games. I think they're going to go 1-1 there. Before they have Fresno State and Oregon State at home, I think they get one of those. I'm not going to say they get both. They could easily go 2-0. They might go 0-2 there. Even if they go 0-2, that would only get them to 4 losses before they head to Nevada. Nevada's just awful. They're going to win that. And then November 30th against San Diego State, I think that's a loss. So when we count it up, I mean, I think they're, say they lose to Baylor, or they lose to Baylor, they lose to Wyoming, they lose to Army or Navy, both Fresno State, Oregon State, and San Diego State. That puts them at 6 losses. I think that's the floor for this team. I expect them to get 1 win in there, though, and I think 7's a logical spot for them. We look at the win total, 6.5 is pretty much the line everywhere. There is 1-7 out there. If you go to Bet Rivers, they have the over 7, and it is juiced to the under. This is definitely a bowl team. I like them to get 7 games. I think one good thing about the end of the season last year is a lot of that depth got to play, and I think they're going to win 7 games. We're going to take it on MGM over 6.5 minus 125. We continue the Mountain West in our next video. If you like the content, make sure to subscribe to it, like it, share it. It helps the algorithm. And follow us on X and the Discord.